The right to offend is not some pesky little part of freedom of speech that we have to put up with. It is the heart and soul and lungs of freedom of speech. It is the coursing lifeblood of human progress. It is the instigator of liberty and modernity and science and understanding. What a laughing stock today's student leaders are, that they can so casually dismiss the right to be offensive without realizing that their lovely, enlightened lives are the gift of individuals who gave offense. Offensiveness is not just something we have to begrudgingly accept. Offensiveness is the motor of human progress.
Now broadcasting from the Right to Offend Media Studios in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, art, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report Live with Sam Whitfield.
But giving offense is good. In fact, it's essential.
Alrighty, and welcome to the Whitfield Report Live, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Sam Whitfield, broadcasting live from South Florida, joined here with Max Morpheus and our very special guest, return guest, Mr. Zach James, author Zach James. His latest book, I actually have here in my hand, Persona non grata, which has taken on a couple of new meanings since I last interviewed Zach, but we'll talk about all of that and much more.
I just want to point out, Sam, and also since the author's here, like that passes the eye test right there of a book. You know what I mean? Like it's beefy.
Great cover.
It's got like a good color scheme. Like immediately your eyes drawn to like what's the deal with I don't know, as a book buyer more than a writer. I just appreciate good cover art that doesn't like, because like the modern corporate cover art scene, I don't know, it's kind of a meme, right? They all look exactly the same, especially now with AI doing it. Jeez. I'm sorry, Sam. I didn't mean to interject.
No, well, I mean, the thing about the AI cover generators is like, I wish more people would use them effectively.
Yeah,
because I've made I've got the Dogs of War out. Like, I made
the
this.
Problem is, Sam, is people think it's just a plug and go, and you don't have to tweak it like you do.
Yeah, because they didn't go to school for technical writing like I did, so they don't know how.
I mean, the big publishers, even they don't care, and their covers look so samey these days. Like it's a noticeable trend. If you go back to like the 80s and 90s, you had these beautiful hand painted, covers on like every other book that had like a distinctive style and drew you in. And if you go into like a modern section of like just even the modern political thriller section in most bookstores, 80% of the covers look almost identical now.
Yeah,
it's been a noticeable trend. Like there's tons of memes about it in like literary, Twitter. Because it's
silhouette of a man with a gun, and he's off to save the world yet again.
Yeah, and then like I also love how like all the book covers with like that have movie or TV show tie-ins are now just like literally. They're not even book covers. They're just like movie posters that are like, just like imposed. Like like I understand Jack Carr. The Terminalist got made into a show, but the original cover of the book was fine. I don't need to see Chris Pratt's face on the book.
Yeah, not on the book.
Sorry, ladies. I know he's handsome.
That's what it is, though, Sam. That sells those extra couple and the big publishers need this. We've kind of talked about this, where this is why we support independent media wherever we find it as like a idea, because the Penguin Publishing lawsuit we were talking about before, where like 90% of the people they had signed to a contract sold less than 12 books. Well, that's not exactly like pushing you to the moon, is it? And that's the biggest publisher in the world. This came out in a class action lawsuit, I believe, 2 years ago.
I wasn't aware of that. That's wild.
And the lawsuit was alleging that it's essentially a giant tax write-off for them. It's basically like Stephen King and Heather Graham keep them afloat and make them money, and everybody else is just there. Or there's more than just them too, but and even with his, let's just say, more aggressive opinions as of late, he still sells them books, but like none of these they sign these authors and they let them languish. They don't invest in them. And a lot of people that we've talked to, actually, even Sam, right? You would say that if they were on one of these big publishers, they couldn't get them to do the stuff that they're going to do themselves for independent anyway.
The thing that I've noticed, and Eric Bishop, friend of the show, has talked about this, is a lot of authors that go through traditional publishing now have to do almost as much, if not identical, work as indie authors now, because like unless you're Stephen King or someone, you no longer have like PR people, sending out tweets or doing media on your behalf.
It's wild that they expect you to put in just as much, if not more, work than them to still do social media thing, which is like the antithesis of what I want to do. It's actually something I told Eric when I was on his show. Like if I could pull like the Daniel Day-Lewis approach of like drop I'm obviously not the Daniel Day-Lewis of writing yet, but if I could like drop a book and then just disappear to like the next release, that'd be ideal for me.
Yeah, and that's something I'm kind of in the same boat too, because like I released like The Dogs of War, my latest book, like right before I went on vacation, and it still sold pretty well, but not as well as The Fourth Estate or Shadows of Deception. Reason being is because I might have made an error in terms of like deciding to release it before I went on vacation, because I wasn't, mass tweeting it like I was and promoting it.
Also, to be fair, though, there's a little bit of like you released The Fourth Estate on the 4th of July, I believe, correct?
I released Shadows of Deception, the first one.
Was.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Well, and also, it didn't help, and I couldn't help, and Zach and I talked about this the last time. It also didn't help that like The Dogs of War came out like right after a presidential assassination attempt. Maybe actually, I take that back. It kind of did the first week, but yeah, who knows? The other thing is Amazon does not update their. I've noticed that they don't update their orders very well on KDP.
So I figured that out recently, Sam. So what it is it's not when someone clicks buy, it's when those big old printers finally spool up and then spit out a copy.
Right. Fulfilled.
And then it's when it's shipped.
Yeah.
Is when the order finally comes through. And it's very, very annoying because like, Persona non Grata came out, well, technically not yesterday, 8 p.m. on the 30th for some reason, even though I had it set for October 1st. Yeah. And I got a bunch of messages, probably like 20 messages like, hey, just ordered it. I think one sale has gone through so far, other than the 4 Kindle pre-orders. So, it's sort of
one of which was mine. So you're welcome.
I greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, like in the old days, I think this is as true for authors as it is for music, which is where I have more experience. You'd have to print up a certain amount of them at cost to yourself, usually, if you wanted to be independent, right? That's why so few people used to be independent. The costs were so much more now. And so on one hand, I'm bashing the corpos. Amazon's a big corpo too, but it does the same level of work for a lot of authors where you're having to do the promotion yourself, but gives you a lot more freedom to at least do that yourself. Whereas some of these publishing deals have like weird, addendums, they're contracts, right? And a lot of people aren't lawyers, especially early stages in your career. And it's easy to get that first big payday and be like, yeah, I'll just sign anything. And then in the music industry, that means your masters are now not your property anymore. And that means a lifelong revenue stream is gone to you. I don't think people realize how important the masters are to an artist, right?
Yeah.
Because that means for the rest of your life, you can make money off of that particular song, right? If you own the masters to it. And that's the first thing a record company will take from a young band. And if your first record is your breakout hit, which is the case for a lot of bands, and maybe you don't even have a big career after that, maybe you're a one-hit wonder, and now you don't even own the masters to that one hit, which made them like $1 bajillion.
Yeah.
You got to be careful what you sign, gentlemen.
It's also a problem for movie rights too, because
Sure.
you know, like lots of authors will sign over you know, book rights to studios to get their movies made, and you know,
Which seems awesome, right?
yeah, which seems awesome, but like Michael Connelly,
until they pull a without remorse and just completely destroy the story.
yeah, well, and but also the interesting without remorse. I'm glad you brought that up. So like Tom Clancy had like, you know, given the rights over to for Without Remorse, like, you know, when it was first published back in the 80s, and that thing like languished in like pre-production hell, and sadly it didn't even like, I think he had passed already by the time it got made into a movie, and
by damn near a decade, because
yeah.
that movie came out in 2021. He died in 2013.
Yeah, and I hate to say this, but I'm actually glad he didn't live to see that movie come out. It's
rough too with the whole quote unquote modern audience problem, right? Of where who is this modern audience? I don't know who it is, right? Because they don't seem to go see any of these movies that they make for them.
Just like video games that make for the people that don't play them.
Yeah. And it's like almost like, do I sell my rights
tomorrow night?
Do I sell my rights now, right? Where that is potentially, they could just take your story because you signed it away and do some stuff with it that you maybe don't agree with, or push a message you don't like, and you just have to eat that? Or do you hold on to it and then it never gets made, you know? And that's why a lot of guys, like a first time like band, like I was saying, will sign one of these. People are like, why would you sign a record deal like that? Well, because they gave these kids out of high school like $100,000. Yeah, $100,000. Here you go, kids. Have fun. Oh, you don't know how to recoup any of your expenses? That's fine. No, don't worry about that. No, don't get an accountant. Why would you do that?
Yeah, there's no need to get a lawyer either. So, and by the
it's good.
Just sign it.
And by the way, we own your likeness now. So, you know,
we own your likeness. We own your masters. Fuck you. We win.
Yeah.
So,
good luck writing a book about it.
Yeah,
we have to approve it before you put any books out.
That, you know, that
it is like that corpo monopoly. It might not be one company, but they all have a very similar mindset. It's a culture, you know, where they use the same kind of soft language in a lot of their corporate marketing. They have the same human resource department with the same set of principles, and that does seem to be changing in certain aspects of media because of customers just not buying stuff. Like Microsoft is panicking. Ubisoft's stocks are in the toilet. So in some areas, that kind of corpo monopoly is eating itself. But then in other areas, it's just the standard of how you do business in 2024, and you kind of have to accept it.
And then there are things that like I just don't understand, like for example, like how Zach and I are getting censored, but like the Hawktoe Girl is like the number 3 podcast in the world.
You gentlemen just aren't hot enough.
I mean, not
wrong.
You're not. I mean, look, we're both wearing collared shirts. We, we made an effort to look nice, both of us.
Sammy doesn't do enough
Both of us.
topless podcasts anymore.
God. Now I feel bad. I got Popeye, Sam.
Yeah, that's true. But we're not showing for corpo stuff enough. So
well, I'm sure the fact that I actively post like anti-corpo Johnny Silverhand memes also doesn't help my case.
Yeah, it's funny how that's come to
I love it.
Like the new punk rock is like just being like a centrist.
And
We've been kind of
like
like
centrist.
That's been kind of the theme around here lately. Is just like I've been kind of goofing out. Last night I was just making faces, pretending to be Tim Walz because like the debate wasn't even good, and his eyes bugged out of his head at least like 2/4 of an inch. That's impressive.
not only that, but like CBS somehow duped everyone into thinking that the debate was starting at 8 p.m. instead of 9 p.m. So we actually got on stream early, and like we're just like, oh, okay, where's the debate? Oh, so they're doing a pre-show.
So you got banned, and obviously you joke, the Johnny Silverhand memes, but like legitimately, what did they tell you what they banned you for, or because we've had cases of both, obviously.
So thankfully, my current account isn't banned; it was just restricted. I have had an account get banned before. My last
good old
Instagram
shadow ban
page got it got completely nuked for quote unquote inciting violence because I'm very outspoken in my support of killing all pedophiles, and that is a hill that I will not only die on, but I'll kill on.
Sure.
And so I had to start from scratch for my new one. But no, I was getting so it was on Instagram. It was saying that my page and my content couldn't be recommended because of what was it? It was because of the one clip I had of like the Heat music video set to friggin' ABBA. It was said that violated guidelines on violence. It's like it's a movie, right? And then for some reason they flagged all of ours. I don't know if it got flagged on yours, Sam, but all the clips that you and I were collaborating on, it said that it flagged them for hate speech. Which, talk about books, I don't know what hate speech there was in that. And then all the rest were some of the gun related stuff, and I don't know. I think someone might have been messing with me on this one, like someone who doesn't like me, and I've got a feeling I know who it is. Which they're getting their comeuppance right now by other people on Twitter, which is fantastic. But it was all gun related. So the main ones were the picture of persona non grata with a Beretta and a shoulder holster next to it, which Nathaniel Hummel actually sent in.
So marketing material for a fictional novel, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I just want to be like in their language clear about how silly that is to even flag.
Yeah, on a table, not even like someone holding it.
Right. The proverbial gun on the table.
And then the other ones were just the promo shoots for Turning Point, where I'm all kitted up in the ghillie style stuff with the rifle and all that. And they hit me with the one where I'm holding up. Actually, I've got it right here. I'm holding up the little field Bible. But all those were flagged under violation of like controlled goods. And then if you look at controlled goods, it only lists like marijuana, drugs, and alcohol. So either it's flagging me thinking I'm a big old pot plant because I'm dressed up in like a ghillie suit style thing, or someone is specifically flagged. And it didn't flag all those because it didn't get
in which case the AI was smoking something.
So that's why I'm either like it's either someone specifically going after these posts or the AI doesn't know, in the algorithm or whatever, however the hell it works. So those are the ones that got flagged. So I'm like appealing it, and it's coming up on the day of the publication. I'm like, shit, like I need to be able to like put my stuff out there. Right. And so I ended up just archiving them all. I'll reinstate them later. And thankfully my account is like good right now, so I can always try to push out some marketing material and sell some books. But it's like, how it's so tiresome.
Yeah. Well,
Sam's got my favorite band story. Sam, tell our good guest here what you were doing at the moment you got banned by YouTube.
So this is interesting. So yeah, as most folks know, like I actually had to explain this to Nathaniel because he's like, "Can you link me to your YouTube channel?" And I'm like, "I would, but we got banned on YouTube." So
Live on air.
Yeah, live on air.
Live on air?
Yeah, I was actually eulogizing my grandfather who passed away 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He had died a week before. He had died the week before. It's actually like 2 years. It's actually like 2 years ago this week that he actually passed away. And so, like, I took a week off to, do the memorial, came back, and I was literally eulogizing him on air.
Talking about the funeral, and then, talking about his grandfather. Literally, he was in the middle of talking about his grandfather. He had 2 streams up. One is on YouTube, and the other is on Rumble. And then the funny part about I went back and watched the Rumble stream recently, Sam. It's funny, our reaction to it, because it's like, what happened?
Yeah.
Why is it gone? He was literally he said, "I'm back from my trip because I had to go to my grandfather's funeral."
Yeah.
Banned forever with no notice or reason given.
Yeah, and so then I ended the stream and I checked the email and it said all YouTube said was that my account had been my YouTube channel had been like permanently suspended for basically for terms of service violations.
Random terms of service violations.
What specific terms of service violations? They did not state. I emailed them and asked them what terms of service I had violated. They just simply referred to me to the terms of service page, but didn't actually like tell me which ones I had violated or why.
See, that's what pisses me off the most about this is it's always these vague, amorphous, like you just violated X, Y, and Z. Like it never pulls up the terms of service in the actual paragraph, section, code, whatever the hell. And actually, Sean Ryan, he was just on the Joe Rogan podcast. He also hosts the Sean Ryan show, which I'm a pretty avid listener to, and they talk about it pretty extensively to the point where even they were talking about how sometimes if you even want to like be considered to be reinstated, you have to sit through like a sensitivity class hosted by the platform, whatever.
I've taken those. I've actually taken 2 of them. Yes. So I did it was like my avant-garde art project where I did like a coffee house vibe, but just looking at like weird people on the internet. It was cringe coffee house, right? And like making like laughing at people on the internet, but treating it like it's art.
Sounds awesome.
Because it's outsider art. The people I look at are usually actually crazy people that just post this stuff nonstop, right? And so
the entirety of TikTok.
Yeah, and it's not meant for like a large audience. It's just me having fun, and I get it. Oh, bullying, and it's like okay, fair enough. Give me the stupid seminar. It took me 15 minutes, and I had to answer questions about bullying, and
there were questions. It wasn't just like a
it was a test thing. Pop quiz, hot shot. What is this bullying? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe. And then also it's tough because I've been very vocal myself about a topic that bullying is good actually. Maybe not all bullying, but bullying is
you know why bullying is good? Because it introduces people to the concept of shame, and that prevents everyone from having main character syndrome, which is what leads to most of the problems we have nowadays.
It's like a society's natural reaction to abhorrent behavior. It's almost like the antibody of society, right? Whereas like that guy's real weird, usually that correlates to something he shouldn't be doing. And sometimes that's not true. That's why I say not all bullying is good. Some of it is just mean and harms people. But sometimes, like, look, calling fat people fat isn't. I was a fat person a year ago. Sam will know. I just went to my heart doctor. I lost 154 pounds since last year.
Holy shit! Congratulations.
Because I've been out running.
That's awesome.
As I'm training for a fight. Because I used to box, and I figure I'm 40, going to be 41. Why not try? And I'm in better shape than when I was 20, so maybe I can win. Amateur. I'm not trying to get a concussion anymore. I'm too old for that. I'm already stupid as it is. So
your wife
gotta wear the headgear.
your wife keeps throwing objects at you when you say stupid stuff on the show, though. So
Yeah, but that doesn't hurt.
I mean, don't.
You're gonna throw something at me if I keep it up.
Don't tempt her. So
she's already giving me that evil look. Sam, back to you, Sam.
I can see her face, and it's not even like I can visualize it, and it's not even she's not even on camera. But no, I mean, I think the I think the other thing that's like really stupid is with the whole censorship thing is it's even if you disagree with us, it could very well happen to you, to the to the people who are eventually who are doing the censoring.
Sometimes it does.
It basically just said what I was going to say.
Well, that's my story is like that, actually, because my big band story is Facebook. Sam knows this. My big band was Facebook. I used Facebook back in the day. Arguing in political groups on Facebook was actually kind of fun because you just piss everybody off. And I'm an irreverent, like, older millennial Gen X kind of guy who thinks that Eminem and South Park was very funny and listens to like ICP and edgy music and hung out with a lot of like underground bands and metal and stuff like that. So I don't like being told not to tell my opinion on things. And but I didn't think about it because Facebook didn't used to be as band heavy. And then one day I never got in trouble at all, but I went to the Straight Pride Parade in Boston, which was a hilarious event that was basically a mockery of a leftist protest, not even a pride parade, but a leftist protest. And the whole premise we were asking was to add S to LGBTQ plus whatever for straight, so we could all be together. So how are they going to be mad about that? Well, they called us Nazis. And I started early on in the day just screaming, "God loves you" at everybody. That was my response. Is God loves you just the way you are. That's what I said to everybody. And I swear it made some of their like,
how dare you? How dare you?
There's also a video, a shameful secret, I guess, that they filmed, and it went on one of those like Twitter news aggregates for lefties that gets like a bajillion views. And so it was playing "God Bless America" on the float. And I was like, yeah, God bless America. I started singing loudly and off key, figuring that other people would join me. There was like 200 of us, right? And then it kept just being me. And I'm like, do you stop? Or do you just put your fucking soul into it? And then 7 bajillion people watched the video of me singing like an asshole. So,
I mean...
And so that's going to that event not only got me banned from Facebook, but also the Massachusetts Libertarian Party.
Wait, so just going there, not even like posting about it, just going there got you banned on Facebook?
Yeah, I didn't even post anything. I still have all the shit saved.
There's gotta
because Antifa, they found me on Twitter, right? And I used Twitter more even back then.
Yeah.
And so they tried to get me banned, but like I always make sure not to get banned. I don't get banned anywhere. That's why it's unusual to get banned. I toe the line very much so. But it's like they decided they couldn't get me on Twitter, so they found my Facebook. and they just mass reported it. And Facebook has like no standard at all. So they were like, yeah, sure. They deleted it so hard. It never gave me any reason why that I can actually still use that email to make another account today as if it never existed. They deleted all pictures of me that other people
nuked it.
Yeah, if my wife tagged me in pictures, they deleted them. They took them off of her page, and they changed her married status to single.
I feel like that's see, that feels like
I never existed.
Like to have that much. Yeah, like that's some straight Orwellian
shit. They hit the delete button. It wasn't even the ban.
They 1984 to your ass.
Yeah, so that's why I don't use their platforms, obviously. We're quite happy here on Rumble.
It's like Stalin when he would fucking have people airbrushed out of photos back in the day.
Yeah. It kept getting a deeper rabbit hole, right? And I'm like, the Massachusetts Libertarian Party is a different one because they were like, anybody who goes to this isn't allowed. And I'm like, you know who wouldn't kick me out for going to any protest, even a ridiculous one? Either the Democrats or Republicans. Only libertarians care enough and get nitpicky enough and friendly with each other enough and want to fight with each other because they want to be the biggest fish in the small pond would like make a rule like that. So I was like, you know what? Then I don't want to be a part of your stupid party anyway.
Yeah, I was a libertarian for about 2 weeks back in 2020, and there was this weird shift. I don't know what happened. It was in like June, July. I joined. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm all about don't touch my money, don't touch my guns, let me have my land, leave me alone. And the memes were all great, and then it like shifted from like, leave us alone to like we should just kill every cop we see. And I was like, I can't get out of these groups fast enough.
Oh man, like let me tell you, as a longtime police accountability activist that comes from like a place of like nothing to do with any of this modern stuff about it. I was talking about when police act out of bounds for years and years and years. I even at one point worked with Cop Block, which is like the most famous one. Me and Asa J wrote for them for years. And the idea is, badges don't grant you extra rights. If cops do abuse people, they need to be held to account for it. Otherwise, people won't trust the cops, and they kind of don't. But then the anti-cop rhetoric went from us talking about accountability. I was talking to Andrew Nelson about this accountability for bad cops to all cops are bastards and defund the police. And it's like, well, I'm not a part of that movement. I was talking about that one cop that clearly everybody agrees was an asshole. How about you just take his badge, right? Yeah. And how about we have? I've always said more like open hearings about these kind of things. But I'm not, I wasn't like what I saw in 2020 was insane. So I totally get where you're coming from. As a guy that was like on their side, they drove me off,
Well, it was for me personally, again, accountability, great thing.
Yeah.
There should be accountability. And if anything, there should be more accountability because you're in a position of power like that. But then just to be like blanket, like, we don't need them. We should just kill them all. Like, no, not associated with this level of thinking.
Or even just the defund bit, right? Is like the one thing that would help.
What a stupid concept.
Defund the one police. Thing that might make this problem slightly better could be funding. Not like it's like the one like the leftists would appreciate, I guess you could say, because they love to spend money, but not on cops. What the. How does that make any sense?
Or disaster relief for U.S. citizens, but that's not here nor there.
They're just underwater. It's fine.
Yeah, my other favorite thing, and I know Zach, you might appreciate this. I know you know who A.M. Adair is, but do you know who Steve Stratton? Do you know Steve Stratton by chance? Okay,
yeah, I'm connected with him too.
So Steve, great guy. He came on the podcast. Like, I think back in like January or February. And I was asking him about his experience, working with the DEA and also like, as a Green Beret. And he actually fought against the drug cartels. And so he was explaining like, why, what America needs to do to get rid of hard drugs.
And he was very insistent about fentanyl specifically.
Yeah.
Which is kind of important.
Yeah, he was.
I know where you're going, Sam.
Yeah, he was very specific about like, fentanyl and like cocaine and hard drugs. But evidently the libertarian portion of this audience no longer exists because they misconstrued him talking about hard drugs to think that like he wants to ban pot and wants to arrest like like backyard
one issue, man.
which is not what he was mentioning at all. He lives in Colorado.
Yeah.
So like, but it was like weird. It was weird and bizarre how like they flipped out on like something that he didn't even say.
And then I came to his defense, and they thought I was like their guy. That's the funny part, though, is like I've always been like the kind of anti-libertarian guy in the circles I've been in, because I got kicked out of the party before that too. I got kicked out a couple times because I like to push buttons and I'm kind of an asshole. So, and then they let me back in because I push buttons in just such a way that they have to.
Yeah,
it's a skill. Or a curse or something.
It is.
The only thing that I'll say about fentanyl, without going down a rabbit hole that'll have us talking into the wee hours of the night, is the U.S. government currently does a better job at regulating raw milk than it does fentanyl in our country. So,
and insert any number of other perfectly safe, healthy, normal things here, right?
Yeah.
Or not even regulation. Let's talk about inflation, man. I've been on a workout kick. Like I said, lost all that weight. How much was the eggs when you got? We were like looking at eggs. She got a half dozen. How much was the half dozen?
Close to $4.
$4.
Oof.
Jeez. How much was the dozen? Like 8?
Close. Well, the ones that I was looking at were close to 5.
Oh, but don't worry about it, guys. Eggs aren't healthy for you or nothing. You're gonna die.
Well, oh yeah, no eggs and red meat. Well, that's so.
Eat the bugs.
So eat the bugs, live in the pods. So I'm gonna go on a little bit of a soapbox here because of this stuff. So I buy all of my meat, dairy, and eggs, to include raw milk, from a local farm co-op. That is basically, they transport it from a farm out in Gap, Pennsylvania. It's an Amish farm, and they bring it into Northern Virginia for us to buy. And it's about, here, I'm going to just pull up the eggs because I'm curious, because it's definitely worth the little bit of extra money, because we were talking about egg prices. But man, just the difference
they're probably
you can taste
not
in them
full of hormones.
I pay $7 for a dozen eggs that I know are guaranteed like farm fresh. These yolks that are like dark orange. But again,
farm fresh, less than the damn store. What are we doing?
Farm fresh, like freshly packed that morning, sent out to us.
Well, no, and I grew up in a rural, like, farm Massachusetts town. I'm used to fresh, like, good, farm stuff. And this idea of like having to get these prepackaged, and you can't even get if I got the organic ones, oh my God, they would be like $12 for $1 an egg, right? It's like, oh man, and I'm supposed to eat 2 for my diet. Well, fuck me.
But
welcome to Bidenomics.
I have an egg in the morning.
Well, it's funny too, because now like you can't even make the excuse of like, oh well, but fast food is so much cheaper, and the poison is cheaper, because fast food is fucking expensive now too. It's just
Most
like you can't win.
A luxury for the first time since like the 50s. I've been watching a lot of news about this. The industry is collapsing on itself, and it's mostly due to the wage hikes from the minimum wage laws, like a large portion of it anyway, and then inflation on top of that, which it causes inflation. So it's kind of one of those cycles of assery. Where we just the person that's going to get the bone in the end is going to be the consumer one way or another, and the taxpayer, because these people aren't making enough. They have to go on assistance as well as working at the fast food place, right? So we're paying more in getting the fast food, but we're also paying more in taxes for them to get food stamps because they're not getting enough because of inflation. It's crazy, and it just keeps what the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own butt.
Well, like even getting back to like self-publishing and whatnot. I've gotten a couple of complaints from people, like not too many, but like, why are you charging like $11 for a paperback that's like only 250 pages?
But it's so crisp. It's Sam. Can I just brag about how much I love your paper for a second?
Sure. Feel free to. And
sorry.
Hey, folks, I'm not kissing Sam's ass because he's a buddy of mine, but legitimately that paper is crisp as hell.
Yeah.
Well, and I listen, I haven't done hardcovers for my books yet, but I do love Persona non gratas, like just the like back, I thought I would miss.
I'm saying it looks substantial. Like I just talked about the textile feel of your book, and I'm looking at that book in your hands, and I'm like, yeah.
The casing is really nice, and it is like, I looked at pricing. Your book is not like bad at all. I think it's like $22 for like a hardcover.
I mean, it's almost 500 pages, and I mean the industry standard I think is like $35 for a hardcover now, and so it's like, I still want to get it out there. I'm not trying to price people out of reading my book, but I also need at least kind of a return. So trying to find that balance.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say too, is like people have to be able to, especially with like indie authors, like we want it to be affordable, but we also have to make like some royalty money back on it as well. My other question is,
how dare you, Sam?
That's a question I actually have. So coming from like the music side of things, right? How they supplement that is obviously with touring, merchandise. Those are the two big ones, right? There's other stuff like you could do signings and things like that. I guess authors do signings, but like, is merchandise even a feasible thing from where you're at, or like, because it doesn't seem right? But for a band, obviously it is. So it seems like what I'm saying is I feel maybe authors have less avenues than other forms of media currently.
I mean, Zach, do you want to take this one first, or?
Yeah, I could take that one first. I think it all depends on the author. So
sure, yeah.
Like, I know for me, there is a demand for additional stuff like merch. People have come up and like, when are you doing patches? When are you doing hats? When are you doing shirts? When are you doing stickers? And when I get around to it. So I know I've got at least a limited amount of interest for that. I'm just too lazy to figure it out right now.
Right, but like what I mean is, for like a band, that's more of a revenue stream than their publishing deal 99% of the time, or even if they're independent as well. You look at the top like independent artists, at least that I'm aware of or know, they make a lot selling physical copies, even in this day and age, right, with their signatures on it, because people download most of the music, so they're able to make a way better margin selling those CDs. Especially you add in like, oh, I sign it myself, and they're signing like hundreds of them overnight, trying to get them out the door, just like they did in the 90s with like demo tapes and stuff. That hasn't really changed, and that's always like either moving your units yourself, or more importantly, moving t-shirts and stuff like that for a band, obviously. But people don't think that way about authorship. So I was just like, does it feel like there's maybe other avenues that aren't explored, or?
So for other avenues that aren't explored, I don't know. I think to get to the point where if you are buying your own product in bulk to then like sign and send out and doing like a pre-order thing, whatever, you have to. Yeah. I think that's kind of closed off until you reach a certain level of notoriety or popularity. Yeah, it's a level that I'm certainly not at yet.
I would say
I'd like to get there eventually.
From experience, I'll say this, that the barrier to entry for that is lower than it's basically ever been, because you have instant access to a more global market than you ever did previously. But also it comes with downsides, because like the physical aspect, like you could back in the day just book a tour for like an author that sells enough copies, and you'd reasonably get a few people to show up to spend $5, even if they don't really know who the person is. But and they'll buy the book like right there on the spot, which is still cool. But that seems less, because of the digital marketplace and attention economy and stuff. It just seems like traditional methods are kind of drying up. Even bands are having to go more with merch than touring, because touring prices, and everybody will complain about ticket prices now, by the way, but it's not the bands that are making the big killing off of the ticket prices. I can promise you that. You could ask some of them yourself. It's
the venue that takes
the
most of that,
venue,
isn't it?
Yeah. The venues, ever since COVID, they've been hitting it as hard as they can, and people still pay. So what are you going to do?
Just to kind of answer your question, though, from my perspective, Max, like as far as what other avenues are out there, I would really say, like, at least for authors, this has been my case. Like Substack has really been like a good platform for like authors to like self-publish short stories. Also, audiobooks, which is something I do want to talk. That Zach, you at least for the Modern Mercs series, like you have one of the best like audiobook narrators that I've heard. Aside from maybe my guy Doug Green, but I mean, you know, I'm a little biased.
Doug is fantastic though, for real. Doug did a great job.
But yeah, like what? Hey, is there going to be an audiobook version of Persona non Grata? Or you know, what are your thoughts?
There is eventually, and actually, I'm actually very seriously considering doing the narration myself, because I know how it all needs to be said and how everyone needs to say it, so I don't have to worry about going back and be like, hey, I need you to rework this line or whatever. And there will be audiobooks for the other Modern Merc books eventually, but the problem is with a good voice comes a pretty good price tag.
Yes.
And I've got some other things I need to take care of before I'm dropping a couple grand each on audiobooks in the future. So, and that's also a reason I'm thinking of doing Persona non Grata myself. Minus, I've already got a friend of mine who has a very, very nice voice. She'll do all the women parts, because I'm not going to subject people to me trying to do those voices myself. I'll just stick to very poor foreign accents otherwise, because that's going to be super cost not prohibitive. What's the other one I'm thinking? Whatever the opposite of cost efficient. Because at that point, all I have to do is either rent out studio space to do the recording, or go to my buddy's place in New Jersey, who's a sound engineer and has it all in his basement, and do it there. So
sound engineer with it in their basement. Who knows anything about that, Sam?
Nah.
I was just thinking, because I'm actually in the process of producing. See, that's my thing now, is the audio stuff. I'm going to produce an audio drama that Sam's written in addendum to the Shadows of Deception series, which I have a script, and it's pretty fun. It's a prequel for the Cold War, and we got a whole bunch of people here willing to do it. And also, then my own original creation, the Right to Offend Media presents Stripper Chick, coming soon.
Which is not like as risque as you might think.
I got time to do what I want to do.
Yeah,
there you go. That's a beautiful thing right there.
Hey, my wife's actually going to be one of the characters, so it can't be that bad, right?
Yeah.
She just wouldn't be Stripper Chick. She's fair.
You know, I think it's also interesting because, like, I've been reading. I'm not actually done with Persona non Grata yet. Sorry about that, Zach. But I did finish I did finish the Modern Merc series first, and it was the first three at least, and they're fantastic. But
I'm glad you enjoyed them.
I definitely did notice, so far in Persona and Grata, some of the references to Heat and like Max Payne and these other two gentlemen will test. Like I
All
will not
Sam's favorite things. Yeah.
Yeah, I basically will not shut up about Heat at all. In fact, one of the
Or Max Payne. Let's be real.
Yeah, one of the things I actually got banned
or
for.
John Wick.
Oh yeah.
Or James Bond.
Or just Keanu Reeves as a human being.
Keanu's a good one.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I mean it's fair. I just want to point those are the things that you genuinely love.
Yeah.
I'm glad I inadvertently wrote to my audience then.
Yeah. You basically like packaged all my favorite things into one singular book. So like I without giving anything away, do you think is Persona on the Grata going to be a standalone novel, or do you think there are going to be sequels down the line?
I'm going to defer that. We're going to readdress that when we talk later after you finish it.
Okay. Fair enough.
I actually have a question. Like, how does your kind of life experience impact your novels? Because it does seem like you're grounded, obviously, in reality. So obviously there's got to be something there. Even just shooting at the range or anything. Obviously, it's tough when you write action stuff, especially if you know some of your fans are gun nuts. You better like not fuck it up, of course, because they all know every fucking thing ever about the damn gun. I love me some guns, guys, but geez, get a girlfriend.
I'm gonna give a little bit of an answer to that part first, and then I'll answer your initial question. So I kind of deconstructed that trope a little bit in Persona non Grata, because while the main character knows some guns and knows some stuff, he's not this like cool John Wick. He's smooth about everything. There's one scene which, Sam, I know you've already gotten to it, where he has a Glock that has a fully automatic switch on it, and so he posts up and he goes to shoot, and the damn thing almost rips itself out of his hand because he's not prepared for it and stuff like that. And like he's like, yeah, I know that it's an AK of some type. So he doesn't get into, because honestly, I'm so sick of that trend. And I know I've done it in some of my earlier works too, where you're breaking it down by like damn near the serial number.
Well, I don't even mind that as much as I mind like the comment guy, right? That knows every damn thing and wants to correct
those guys. Yeah.
It's like, that's what I mean, is like, get a life. Okay. I love guns. They're cool as hell to shoot, but it's like it's the same as like the guys obsessed with trains, so it's equally as boring, right?
I love.
Sorry, gun guys. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I love Jack Carr.
Not sorry, train guys.
I love Jack Carr, but I think one of my biggest pet peeves of mine for his writing specifically is how he not only like how he has to like painfully detail, and then Reese took this brand AK-47 with this brand rifle sight and zeroed the sniper rifle down.
I'm kind of talking to Shmuley too when I say that.
To point
it's like, oh wow, cool gun guy. Hey, better way to win a guy like me over? Just take me shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't write your comment. Just say, hey, let's go shooting sometime. I'm like, bet.
Yeah.
And then to answer your initial question on how my life experience weighs into the writing, it has very much shifted my style of writing, especially from like pre-life experiences. The biggest one being, got a couple of deployments, a couple of years working overseas under my belt, and getting to work with some of the more shady side of things. And realizing like a lot of what I'd written previously was like, oh, that's not how this works. That's not how this goes. And then just, I would say the biggest thing is I've gotten to experience some cool things in really experienced some otherworldly feelings because of it. Like when I was in Afghanistan on a mountaintop and I could look up and see a belt of the Milky Way because we had no light pollution. Like that's an otherworldly feeling that most people aren't going to get. And so give me 1 second. Sorry.
Dogs are always over with the crowd, Sam. Well, even if chat doesn't like the dogs, they're dogs.
Yeah, this.
I got. Speaking of pets, Sam, I'm walking. I didn't even tell my wife.
Just playing. They're not actually killing each other.
Oh no. No, I was saying that dogs are always over with the crowd anyway, and if they're not, then maybe you're in the wrong place.
So
also because I've lost multiple friends. You know, I got rejected out of high school. 9/11 was my senior year, right? And so all the boys signed up, but I was flat-footed or something like that. And 6 months later, one of my boys I graduated with came back in a box, a Marine. Then about a year later, or 2 years later, when the initial deployment of Iraq happened, my friend that was Rhode Island National Guard, because he was an engineer, went in, obviously, as you know, they're not set up as well at that point during the invasion, and an IED hit him. And it's tough, man. I've did 2 military funerals before most people would have graduated college. And so I obviously, I'm always say people say thank you for your service. I'm thankful that you are here, and made it through and even have something positive to take out of it. That's the first thing you went to too, was something positive, which is a notable quality in a person.
Yeah.
And but to get back on where I was saying, so those experiences and sort of things that I know that other people won't be able to experience, or it's just an escape from the mundane. I mean, how many places in the United States can you look up and see even the stars pretty consistently, much less, a belt of the Milky Way and several dozen shooting stars a night. Mm-hmm. And so trying to capture that, because that's all my writing is, none of my books have greater meanings of, where it's going to keep the reader up at night thinking, because it's some big philosophical revelation. I write stories that I think people find interesting to help them escape the mundane. That's all I write for.
Yeah.
And I like to think that because I've lived a little bit of life, I'm able to transport people to places and things and experiences that they probably won't be able to.
Yeah. And if you're not doing that, then I guess write nonfiction or don't write at all, right? Because again, I'm not the writer here, but as a lifelong reader, like an avid reader, that's what it's about, right? Is like getting that sent to another place for a little while, and just to experience something outside of what you normally experience, whether it be based in reality or some fantastical journey through space, time, and whatever else.
I don't know if I'd call my space journeys fantastical, but there's definitely some interesting stuff in those.
Yeah.
Just to take me away from the mundanity from a while. And that's like I always point out, that's the notable difference between us and like the beasts of the earth, right? Is the art, right?
Yeah.
And music and just creativity. And it's this wonderful, joyous gift we have that we can share with each other.
One thing I am curious now, I've read some of your work more in depth, is are you able to, because I specifically like with modern works, I know that, your characters are contractors, and obviously you work in the contracting field. So is it hard for you to separate yourself from Zach James, the contractor, versus Zach James, the author? Because obviously your characters, in the modern work series, they're doing lots of action-packed stuff that I would imagine, hopefully at least, you're not.
Is a little less common.
You're not
He's hoping you're safe, right, Sam?
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that, listen, if you ever are on the run from the government, Zach, I'd be willing I'd be willing to help you out, but I
appreciate that.
I would imagine that that's not something that all mercs deal with very much.
No, not at all. It's very easy to separate myself from my characters because my characters do things that I will probably never do in my life and never experience in my life.
Yeah.
And it sort of goes back to that again, that more fantastical aspect of what makes a good bombastic story that's still grounded in reality, but it's just plausible enough to where people could see it happen, but it's not happening every week. If I wanted to write a dude who sits in a cubicle 9 times out of 10 or is in front of a class teaching new government people how to do their job, and it throws in a little bit of jokes there, I mean, that would be me, but it wouldn't make for very good reading.
I was going to say, I've known a lot of contractors too, and driving trucks, with literally nothing happening for, however many hours, days. Yeah, down a desert highway in the middle of fucking shit's nowhere. That's a lot. That sounds like a lot of fun. I'm glad in a way I got rejected. But it's definitely been a perspective because again, I see from a lot of younger people a disrespect to the troops too. And that's a weird perspective to me because most of my friends on and off my whole life have been veterans of some kind. Because so many people in my age group, obviously you're, similar age, went and served. People forget what it was like after 9/11, apparently. Even the liberals were yeah, let's go get the bad guys.
Yeah.
Well, it's because right after 9/11, it didn't matter where you were politically, you were an American.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think, too, Zach, you and I, being similar age and growing up in the post-9, I had to explain this to someone in Gen Z that social media did not exist back in 2001 or, and I mean I hate to say this, but I honestly think that social media, and I mean I've even seen some of your posts that Instagram hates about this, and I agree with you, but social media, I think really has kind of in a weird way, it's brought us together, but it's also separated us in a lot of ways.
It's a societal cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Social media in its infancy back in that 2004 to 2000, I'd say 11, was its golden years of social media where it was all about just connectivity. It wasn't about data farming
and expression.
It wasn't about data farming. It wasn't about fucking ad revenue. It wasn't about influencers. It was, hey, check it out. We no longer have to worry about snail mail, long distance calls if you want to keep in touch with your friends from high school or whatever. When it was like that, I think it was great. And but nowadays, and this also falls into the whole internet 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 theory, if you guys are aware of that. With internet 3.0 and social media as it is now, it's just an absolute fucking disaster. I'm going to end up on a watch list for saying this, but Ted Kaczynski fucking called it. Well, even though he didn't even know what social media was going to be. And
friends of mine have been talking about idea of 3.0 long before, the idea of mesh networking is inevitable, and which is decentralized, right? Because more people are going to have the capacity to do it. It becomes cheaper. He was working on a decentralized mesh network social media site years ago because our friends kept getting banned. That's kind of the genesis of the right to offend media is we would get banned for the silliest of things everywhere we went. And some of us are banned on every platform pretty much, for different silly reasons. One of the first bans I ever got was I was talking about we had a problem with my car transmission, and wouldn't you know it, I got banned for saying tranny and was why? What are you talking? This was 2017. I've never been banned from anything. 24 hours for hate speech. I'm man, I really do. You know what? I was mad at that transmission, to be fair. There was hate involved. I hated that tranny. Now somebody's gonna clip me, but no.
I'm waiting for the clip where someone clips me quoting saying, "Oh, we should kill all police," and put that out there. Feel no, it's not what I said.
Probably not our fan base though. They're just laughing along. But Yeah, that and it's always something silly, especially Smooly, our friend. He would always get banned for literally like by mistake, basically, because he was the most polite ever. But for some reason, he just always gets banned, and it just leads to like us pointing out the hypocrisy of the way people do that stuff. It's okay for my people, and it's not. The internet has made all these antisocial behaviors normalized to such a degree. I did a video on this where I went through a lot of like actual white papers from psychologists and studies that show that it reduces TikTok in particular reduces your memory in all age, especially younger ones.
Memory and attention span.
Attention span.
It's insane.
And is highly correlated. Obviously, correlation is not causation, but highly correlated with developmental delay and other mental illnesses, right? And so maybe more mentally ill people use TikTok by just they like it, but maybe it also contributes to the problem. And that's kind of what I think, obviously, but like there's no conclusive evidence one way or the other. And you look at all of this,
I think the conclusion
designed that way. That was the conclusion I come to. I read all the white papers out. These are not like, it's funny when they say like, trust the experts, right? This is the experts. The experts are saying you should not have children on social media, and mine's not, right? You know, we go running every day. We don't.
You want to know what the proof is? You want to know what the proof is the fact that the only industry that spends more money in doing psychological research and how to tailor their products for the most exposure than social media, and especially short form social media like TikTok and all that, are credit card companies.
Mm-hmm. And tobacco before them.
Well, yeah,
and tobacco before them. Right. It's the same tactics too as tobacco, interestingly enough. And they definitely, it's my God, there's a term for it. We used to discuss this kind of stuff all the time, where it's a cultural conditioning, where because everybody just says it's normal. I mean, we all know shit wasn't like this 10 years ago, let alone fucking 20, 25. 10 years ago, woke didn't exist for most 99% of people.
Even 5 years ago, look how much it shifted with the rise of these prolific influencers in short form content and all that. I argue that short form content
feeds the machine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shock value wins. That's kind of also the joke of Right to Offend Media. We're actually a bunch of really not edgy people, you know, and actually kind of diverse even by their standards, which is funny because like, and so my wife does a show with 3 women and they're married women. It's you know, and they outperform us most weeks. But like, yeah, and so like we're not edgy at all. So Right to Offend Media kind of suits us. But like it's the concept of like the mundane has become accursed and forbidden.
You know, what is it they say now? If you're an extremist now, it just means you're a normal person from 20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I was actually trying to explain this to Nathaniel and Luke from the Men's Adventure Fiction podcast, because I guess they've had like a really successful run on YouTube so far, but it's started to curtail. And maybe I'm just overly like black-pilled on, you know, from my experience with YouTube, but I immediately told Nathaniel, I'm like, congratulations, you're starting to get censored. And he's like, why? And I'm like, because
probably because they're promoting traditional masculinity.
Yeah, I'm like,
but even simpler than that. I'm gonna clue you in on something. YouTube bans left-wing independent creators too.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The reason they do is because it's independent creators, and they've decided it's us.
Yeah.
Right. The left-wing creators, they think it's the right-wing establishment is getting rid of them too. It's funny because when you look at the far extreme conspiracyist of conspiracy guys on both sides, they say the same thing, and they neither recognize that they're both getting fucked. Right? The ultra far lefties, they're not exactly like allowed on a lot of these platforms either, and they're like, see, it's only us getting censored because the thought bubbles have so split at this point that they never even wander off into each other anymore. You know, they never even wander into a MAGA person. And if they do, they're like conditioned to immediately like yell at them. Right. And I see it from the MAGA people too, though. They encounter a liberal and it's a demon rat and a liberal tard. And it's like, I don't know. We've tried to foster a philosophy to meet people where they're at.
We've tribalized ourselves is what it comes down to, which is unfortunate because the more we do that and the more divisive we get, it's just going to widen that gap, that schism even more until eventually we're going to be the fucking American version of the Sunni and the Shia.
If you
and
can't
we all know
have
how well that's worked out for them.
The only other thing is violent. Like the reason we have government, the reason we have communication, the reason we have language, the reason we have contracts, the reason we have law, all of this stems from the idea that without being civilized with each other, it goes to rocks hitting each other in the head. Right? Yeah. All of this and all of the far-fetched ideas too, all these utopian ideas like communism and like anarcho. All of them are designed around the concept of avoiding hitting each other in the head with big rocks, right? That's what civilization really boils down to. Whatever, however you want to prescribe it, right? So when you stop any of that from working, what you're trying to leave people with nothing but rocks to hit each other with, and it's scary. It's terrifying.
And then whoever's the strongest, and then whoever's the strongest with the biggest rock runs the community.
And he's not always a nice guy, you know.
Usually Chaz, not. Look at the Chaz or Chop or whatever the hell they called it in Seattle in 2020. What a perfect little microcosm to show that shit doesn't work. And yet people are still like, real communism hasn't been tried yet. I'm gonna stop before I even get on that soapbox.
No, I mean, listen. This is the other thing is like, I actually, someone was saying like how awful, you know, the cyberpunk like future would be, and I'm like, well, I got news for you. We're already kind of living in it, except we don't have gorilla hands or like, you know, flying cars or anything cool.
The only thing we're missing is constant rain, long coats, and a lot of neon.
Where is my vending machine that just sells me an AK with all the attachments?
Yeah.
If I don't got that, then then it's not cyberpunk enough yet.
Yeah,
let's go.
That's pretty much what we. That's pretty much all we need at this point.
Little aside for the cyberpunk, because I'm actually currently working on a cyberpunk book right now. It's not a vending machine for AKs, but they've got a thing where, and I've seen videos of this where it's real, where it's like a robot arm that can make omelets and all that. And of course, they ask for tips and all that, and it's like mandatory because, you know, it's dystopian hell. But even with all that, because it got damaged at some point, the robot arm is like miscalibrated, so it always like fucks up the flips, so the omelets always come out. It's terrible. Just adds to the overall like, oh yeah, everything sucks aspect.
They have like Five Guys, or one of them at one point was like fully automated with robots just flipping the burgers, kind of to prove the minimum wage point, by the way. Just so y'all know, if you were advocating to raise the minimum wage, you were advocating to bring these robots and tablets in instead of actual workers, my friend.
I was going to say, how long after it was that they got higher wages at McDonald's that the big self-order kiosk came in?
Mm-hmm. Walmart been ahead of their game on that for years. They knew they were going to do that. And now Walmart has been less efficient to go to than ever because you can't just... They have 27 fucking aisles, but only self-checks open or one aisle.
So I have to ask in regards to like writing in the cyberpunk genre. This is author to author. Like, how are you able to write it and still have it be fiction? Because like I've tried to write like this is people keep asking me to write sci-fi, and I'm like, well, I would, but like,
oh man, imagine if Donald Trump was president.
In 5 years, it's not going to like be science fiction.
That anymore. Was in like Back to the Future, though, right? Donald Trump was like presented as president as a joke.
Yeah, Yeah, they made it. Well, they also like predicted it in The Simpsons too, and it.
So how I write it is basically I take all the current like dystopic stuff we have in society and I kind of dial that up to 11, and then I just in mine they have flying cars. And then I make a joke that they're called fly cars. Well, why are they called fly cars? Well, because they tried to call them speeders, and Disney hit them with a lawsuit. And Blade Runner hasn't gone public domain yet, so we can't call them spinners yet. Things like that, or like the main character goes to take a shower, and it details how like you don't actually have control of your water anymore. So it's like you hit a button, and you get sprayed for 6 seconds. You've got 15 seconds to scrub a hot spot, then you get sprayed again. So it's just
they just came in and changed my shower head. I appreciate the sentiment, sir.
So it's things like that, but then like because mine takes place in DC in the 2080s. Well, the Building Act of 1910 was abolished in like the 2040s. I think I wrote it. So you've just got these mega towers and skyscrapers, and they're even like so big and they take up city blocks. They're like, oh yeah, this memorial is now in the lobby of this mega corporation's headquarters building. Stuff like that, to be like, okay, it's still tied to reality, but you almost have to take it to a level of like absurdism.
Yeah.
Of like it's so grandiose and so ridiculous, but it could still be grounded in reality if we just if we took the approach that the Emiratis did with Dubai, and we just spent with all the money and know the sense.
I feel like pulp is kind of the vibe for independent art right now, right? People like, because what's pushed from the corporate media is very dry and lacking that old school charm. I mean, like the idea of Stripper Chick is it's a pulp audio drama of a superhero, and she's like the nicest person in the world, but she just makes awful decisions, you know, and just to be silly. Or like Sam, I mean, Sam's whole bit is pulp, and that's why I love his books, man. They're fun, and that's where the vibe is. Even the music, it's more like over the top and fun, sells more records than what's his face, Macklemore talking about Israel. Like, it's not even whether you're on one side or the other of it. In a lot of people's, it's just cringe, dude. Just let it go. Let people have some fun. Entertainment is literally supposed to be entertainment and escape and fun. And yeah, we got bills piled up. Oh no, we know how high gas prices can get. We see hurricanes and all this stuff. Can't I just turn on music with a good beat to it? Can't I just read a book that's a fun story? Why do I have to have a finger pointed in my face and told that I'm a bad person?
Yeah.
Because you didn't get the message, Max.
It's because I'm a bad person. I know. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I mean the message too. I mean, this is another thing too. Is like, I suppose, as with anything, like, you could, if I really wanted to dig through here and like find some meaning in Persona non grata, I guess I could just make something out of like thin air.
Did you enjoy it?
Well, I am so far. So
isn't that the meaning?
Yeah.
That's a big thing. But then too, like I said, I didn't really set out there to be like, there's this grand message that people are going to walk away from it with it, but it very much falls down to whatever your interpretation of it is. Correct. That's what it is, because as soon as it's out there, it's no longer what I meant for it, even though I didn't mean for it. I just thought it was an interesting story that was born of a lot of rage in the real world from the time when I first started writing it, that then transformed into what it is now.
Which was what, like 2020, you said?
No, I started writing this one in 2012.
2012, wow. Man.
Yeah.
That explains the beef. It does look hefty when Sam holds it up.
Yeah, I think it's like 480 some pages.
Nice.
Yeah, I think so. Well, and also like thinking back to like 2012, like, what some of the influences especially like the Max Payne 3 influence definitely was evident.
Oh,
Because
was
that's
there any binders of women?
no, but
Yeah,
That's the
find out.
lamest political meme on the right. And then the flip side of that one is the Howard Dean scream. And both of those were absolutely topped at the vice presidential debate last night. But I'm not going to get into that again.
No,
How embarrassing.
We have good memes for that. I do have to ask, because I know you reference Heat a lot in the book. Have you had a chance to read Heat? Have you had a chance to read Heat 2 yet?
I did. I read it when it came out.
Same here.
I didn't like it past the first third.
Yeah, it gets a bit weird once
There's a momentum shift that grinds it to a halt.
That's what happened. So as soon as it shifted from that first prequel section where you're following the crew and then you're following Pacino's character, I'm blanking on the name right now, and then you're following that weird like Wayne Grow XP who was like Wayne Grow before Wayne Grow.
Yeah.
That was really good. But then when it made that shift back to the 90s and now we're following Chris and he's becoming this like tech wizard security dude or whatever, completely lost me.
Yeah.
And even then after skipping forward to the second flashback thing, I was like, I'm just not into it. So I stopped reading it after that.
Fair.
Yeah. I listened to the audiobook version of it.
I listened to the preview. I would not have been. That dude sounded like he was gargling marbles the whole time.
Well, the guy who does all the Lincoln Lawyer books for Michael Conley. So like I'm used to hearing his but yeah, I mean the problem with Heat 2 is it drags on a lot, like specifically towards the end because Michael Mann essentially like he makes Chris Chihuras like a cyber bank robber.
Yeah, and I remember he was setting that up, and it was just like, this is so strange. Like it's a complete departure from where and also I didn't like the fact that Chris was basically like, "Yep, left my wife and kid behind," and that was sort of the end of it. Because like, let's not forget the line, like the sun rises and sets with her. Like that's not in line with the character that was. And I'm not trying to poo-poo Michael Mann and Heat 2 or anything, but I'm just you asked my opinion, so I'm going to give it. And so that also kind of took me out of it, especially because like we actually got the backstory of him with, I want to say her name was like Shirley or something like that.
Yeah.
We got that backstory as well in that initial prequel part. And so it was like really cool to sort of see the expansion and then to just be like, nope, threw it all away when he went down to Paraguay or whatever the hell. It was like, all right, like it didn't do it for me. And I say that as still a huge Michael Mann fan, if you can't tell from Persona non grata.
The only thing the one thing I did like is that they make Vincent Hanna, that's Pacino's character name.
That's it. Thank you.
They do address in the book. They actually do address his cocaine use as a cop, which is funny.
I liked it when it was more implied. I think it added to the character where it might be true, but it might not. He might just be fucking crazy.
Well, that's Al Pacino in a nutshell.
That's me, isn't it?
I don't know if I like that they're going to. Supposedly, I've heard they're going to make a movie out of it, and I'm like, just please don't. Like,
yeah, I'd rather he didn't
have AI CGI fucking ancient guys. That'll be great.
Like in The Irishman.
Well, not even that. Like,
as an Irishman, I disavow that film.
Yeah. Well, I don't like. What's even worse is like they want to cast like Adam Driver as like Pacino, and then they basically want to
what a strange cat. I mean, Adam Driver's a great actor, but what a strange casting choice for that character.
Yeah, like they want to recast, and like none of the recasts I've seen like even make sense. And I mean, I'm sorry that like
They should have just gone with Morgan Freeman. In
I
fact,
mean,
for everybody, just replace the whole cast with Morgan Freeman.
I mean, they might as well.
It's probably as good that way as anything else Hollywood's gonna make about these days.
Sam, I got a question for you to sort of loop back to your question.
Sure.
Your question to me. So far from what you've read from Persona to Grata, and try to keep it as spoiler free as you can. What if you were to say there was a meaning behind the story? What have you taken away from it so far?
If you're gonna, I mean, it's the age-old thing of if you're going to head out for revenge, dig two graves, pretty much. Which is interesting because that's kind of what I'm working on. I'm actually writing a cop, kind of like a mafia thriller myself.
All right.
At the moment as well. And I can share a little bit more about that. So my main character is actually like a detective in this who is actually like biologically related to the mafia in New York. But instead of like being a corrupt cop, he's like one of the few decent cops like in the NYPD, and so like he has a lot of internal conflict because like basically he's the only straight guy in a family that's like basically run like
cop in a world going bad.
Run the so like what I'm trying to do right now is explore like brother versus brother and that whole theme pretty much, which is interesting, especially like I'm doing it as an anthology series.
Very cool.
Also, one of the short stories I wrote for the series is called Blood Ties, and it's like a horror murder mystery that and I kind of based off like a true crime podcast I actually heard. I know Max is
a friend of the show. He goes, his name is Satanic. Andre Sherm is his real name. He did a true crime podcast, and I've known this guy for a long time, and I didn't even know the full story that his mother was murdered when he was small, and because she was a sex worker, the case was very much tossed in the bin because it was the 80s and the golden age of serial killers, which is an awful thing to say, obviously. And so her name, Jennifer Sherm, by the way, like that's been a big thing in taking back her name and identity. He struggled a lot. He got bullied for his mom being murdered and living with his grandparents and stuff. That's why his music is very dark and intense, and that's why I've always vibed with it. And I didn't actually know this was the reason why. The Minds of Madness podcast, which is a true crime podcast, actually sunk their own money and resources into private investigators to look into his mother's case because he encountered them through talking about something else. And they asked about it because he brought it up. They went to the town and they went to the police and they found hundreds of pages of documents that had never been even looked through that were taken by the original officer on the case. And not to spoil the whole story, but the reason that her case was covered up even more so than just being a sex worker is because when she was a child, she was molested by the chief of police, and the department covered it up. And actually on the stand said that because she was caught with marijuana, basically that it was her fault, which is what led her to a life of sex work, by the way. Incredible. It's we're just trying to find justice for who killed Jennifer, and that's the name of the podcast. If anybody wants to check it out, he's very open about the whole thing. And he for him, just the podcast was good for him in finding out, because he literally, all he knew is a bad man took his mom away. And
Max, I don't know. I don't think I sent you the short story. Not yet. No. Yeah, I'll have to send it to you.
I'll pass it on to him if you.
Yeah, please do, because like that is the one thing that's wild is like writing crime fiction based off of true crime. Because like a lot of it is, and I'm not even trying to do this like artistically, but sometimes it's like what is fiction versus what is, real. And like there's a lot of stuff that like I actually went back and re-listened to the podcast, and it's kind of like, damn, there's a lot that I could put in here that sounds like it could be fiction but is actually real. So
for real. And another thing people could check out, just since we're on the topic, is his song that he released in conjunction with the podcast. It's simply entitled "Who Killed Jennifer," and you can find that on Spotify. We really, if anybody has any information, if they could contact the authorities, that would be great. I know it's unlikely, but like any bit helps, obviously.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sam. It was a bit of a downer, but you brought up, the story, so I figured I'd add some context.
Yeah. And that would be, so that would be very much appreciated if you go and check out his, satanic stuff as well.
All the proceeds go to the funding of the investigation.
But, anyway, Zach.
Also, you can check him out. He was on Discovery Channel on one of the UFO documentaries.
Yeah.
He's an interesting guy. That's why I want to have him on. I want to talk about UFO. Like, I know that was the big thing with the podcast and his mom, and that was rough, but he's also big into the disclosure community, I guess it's called.
Yeah.
That's my window into it, because I don't spend too much time on the alien question, but certainly they are pushing for like documents being released all the time, and he's been for that since the beginning. Whatever you think about the question, government hiding shit from you ain't great,
I mean, yeah, we could go off on a whole.
That's what I want him to come on for. I want to go off on a whole
about government hiding stuff.
They would never do that. Perish the thought.
No. The government, Sam? How dare you?
Well, I mean,
I think this show needs to be shut down now. You just crossed the line. That was what is it?
I think I hear a helicopter outside.
I mean,
misinformation, Sam. That's not allowed anymore. The Constitution just gets in the way. John Kerry told me so.
Oh yeah. The whole misinformation thing. I will tell you this. Zach might get a strike from the Hawk to girl, because I may have made a joke that her promoting persona non grata would be helpful, since she's like the top person on Instagram or whatever.
No, that's the thing. You got to lean into the meme of the name of it, because people get that with it. Well, I have a persona non grata too. Yeah. And
well,
maybe I should send her a copy.
Well,
there you go.
Well, but also, yeah, but also, can she read persona? Does she even know what persona non grata means?
I was gonna say,
man, why you gonna dunk on this girl every week? She's just some blonde girl, man.
I hope she can at least read, because as you've seen, it's not high literature. I write like how I speak. It's
sure
not like Shakespearean.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I'm sure she might not know the Latin meaning behind the title, but I'm sure she can handle the actual book itself.
Every week, this guy, he's just got to bring her up just to, because he's like, she's the third biggest part. I get it too. I get it. She's the third.
It's
but you know what? There was that one song, Sam, that was #1 that was like literally wet pussy or whatever. So I'm not surprised by anything anymore. And this is a guy that listens to like crazy metal music and rap and all. And I'm just like, that's #1 though.
Yeah, that's like that's more my gripe, is just like, I'm more like, how are people with like low effort content like making like?
I've pointed this out, Sam. The average reading level of music and media is now in elementary school. If you look in media written, and this is why I like old television and movies, obviously, it was written in the 50s and 60s, it was written in an 8th or 9th grade level for the average TV show. Even a lot of children's shows were written at a higher end rather than the lower end. Now they're written at like preschool level. Some of the stuff doesn't even have words. They just grunt at each other. But like then the average, you look at the average artist by decades, you know, you see like 12th grade reading level, 8th grade reading level, 6th grade reading level, 4th grade reading level. And then you get to Eminem, it was actually 3rd grade reading level when he was the hot thing. I bet it's even lower now.
Someone, and I think they were just trying to troll me, but someone recently asked me like what my emoji for Shadows of Deception would be, like if I could describe the book in like an emoji, and I just said like the gun. I'm pretty sure it would be the gun, you know, emoji, but like the actual gun emoji, not the you know, not the green squirt one.
You're not a water pistol kind of emoji guy, Sam?
No, I mean, listen, you know, I'm sure you could drown someone with one of those, maybe, but
I don't know. It's the little dinky hand ones that you get at the dollar store, right? If it was like a super soaker, at least you could maybe justify having it, but you should also have the gun emoji because, like, what the what like guns are in children's stuff too. This is the thing. When you look at like YouTube, right? The things we talk about this sometimes with my wife, because the sandwich makers, because they started here on Rumble, and so they're not, and it's their first podcast, they're not used to talking like YouTube would allow, right? They are totally not monetizable, even though they're just regular ass women talking about nothing political, nothing even edgy, but they use words that are just immediate demonetized. Like, you want to talk true crime, Sam? Well, not on YouTube because murder, oh, that's off the table.
The fact again that like that Zach's like camo you know, pics like got censored is wild.
But if you're corpo media, right, you can show all the guns, you can show all the blood, you can show all the sex, you can show all the drugs, you can show all the swearing, and you get monetized.
Yeah.
You ever watch? I know you watch WWE, Sam, and AEW and all that shit. You see the wild shit they put on television, but you can't say ass on YouTube without getting the yellow star of shame.
Yeah.
It's silly. It's fucking silly, and that's why we're like kind of making a point to just have normal conversations like people used to. Like Dave Chappelle used to have the best show everybody loved and laughed at, and equally laughed at all the races, including his own. And that's why when he came back to comedy, he immediately got canceled and was like, "What the fuck is this shit? You pussies!" What you know, we used to all laugh. You know, that was a thing we did about everything. And I think that was a much better mentality than what's going on now. At least everybody has. And that's the thing is the politics has to be intrusive into your life. It has to be all tribe, like you said, tribalism. It's a perfect word. It has to intrude so deeply into everybody's life that you shun even family members and friends over a simple disagreement about border policy. As ridiculous as that sounds, that happens all over America right now.
Absolutely. It's absolutely wild.
Yeah, or even like or even gender, like this is the other thing that
basic human biology is now a divisive issue.
Yeah, or you know, like one of the other things is like you know, like, well, why don't you have enough, you know, why don't you have more, you know, woman characters in your books? That's something I got like asked, and I'm
but
like,
then
well,
if you do that, right, they'll say you don't know how to write women characters because you're a fucking male chauvinist, pig, anti-feminist, patriarchal, evil old Sam here.
Where's your wheelchair protagonist?
Yeah. I mean, my God. Yeah. You're supposed to write a guy in a wheelchair, Sam. Why didn't you write a guy in a wheelchair?
I mean, spoiler alert, like my wheelchair guy is the president of the United States who like survives an assassination attempt, which is.
But who's your protagonist? Is he diverse at all? No,
he's a white guy.
He's a white guy.
My
Zach... straight, Sam. What are you doing? He's not disabled.
He's a straight white guy with
Does he have autism at least?
With nothing on the spectrum.
No, I mean,
how are we ever gonna get that diversity grant for the fucking company, Sam? You gotta be thinking about these things.
I mean, you have.
Also, he has way too much personality. You got to tone that down. That's offensive.
If having Sam and I isn't enough diversity, I don't know what is.
I mean, it should be.
My wife's over there. She's a woman. I swear. Does that count anymore? No, she's a real woman. God damn it.
Well, and unfortunately, like, as far as who I would cast for John Ryder, like, really, there are no big names in Hollywood, but like, Zach would probably come closest to like what John Ryder would look like.
I'll take it.
But you know, I don't think, you know, Zach, you don't have any like agents or anything in Hollywood right now, do you?
No, I don't.
Well, that's
probably good. I hear they got freak offs over there.
Yeah, that's that's an interesting.
I'll be a free agent. You let me know when the movie starts, and I'll show up.
Well, we need that is one thing that like I guess Kickstarter would be helpful.
You see, that's not how Hollywood works. You can't get a job like that.
Oh, I know. Unfortunately,
I suppose we could go to, well, honestly, there aren't really many producers left that we could go to. They're all getting like arrested for.
I'll produce it, Sam. If I had a budget, I would produce the shit out of it.
I know.
That's the problem, getting the budget.
Well, and
because your shit explodes all the time, Sam. I was thinking about, right? Like, ooh, what would it cost? Like, I asked for a script for your voice. Oh my God, I'm going to go do this on air right now. I asked for a script for the voice drama, and I was like, make sure you keep the stage direction simple because it's going to be an animated thing to promote the book, and I don't have the fucking biggest budget in the world. In fact, it's zero. And Sam's like, the instructions are like every other line, and there's explosions and I'm like, Sam, I have to buy royalty-free explosion sounds now. Anyway,
that was
it's a great script, and I was like, man, I wish I could make this with the budget, but can we tone it down, brother?
Yeah, that's the problem. And I mean, I do feel like
I love the ambition, though. I can't lie. It struck me. I was like, holy shit, how could I make this into a blockbuster film?
Well, I do
$0.
I do feel like filmmaking is still like an area where independent media doesn't really have as much of an advantage yet.
It's cheaper. It's cheaper than ever to produce that shit. Like, I just bought a software package of like all the latest stuff to do that for like $30 on Humble Bundle.
But
awesome.
But that's
Nice.
that's also partially why, and I don't know if this is true for you, Zach, but like part of the reason why I write books is because I've written screenplays, and obviously I know I'm not gonna get into Hollywood anytime soon. So like by putting them out as books, I can like at least people can see my work.
Well,
absolutely. I'm actually looking at doing so I wrote a whole screenplay last year. Funny enough, also tangentially related to the mob. But similar thing. Although I didn't have it done yet when the strike was happening, which I was kind of pissed off at myself about because I was like, damn it, like had this been done, I could have sent it off and maybe gotten it in there.
That's the time to kick a door in, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But no, so I'm actually gonna do a book adaptation of it soon enough. To still get the story out there and hopefully get some notoriety behind it, so then people can be like, "Oh, look, there's already an audience for it." Let's make it happen.
Well,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like the stupid, as stupid as it sounds, Stripper Chick is like a proof of concept that we can make kind of an independent film on a no budget, and so it also being such a stupid concept gives me free to be like the irreverent humor of 20 years ago that I like. Rather, because like I'm sick of bitching about not having that around, and I amuse myself at least. I was very amused last night. My wife took all screenshots of me acting stupid. Now they're on Twitter.
Yeah.
Good time, Sam.
Yeah, I think our debate stream was actually better than the debate itself, for sure.
Well, I don't know. Tim Walz is I can't. He had passion. I'll give him that. Not much else.
He might. Well, what was it? I don't want to say anything until after the election, but there may be one or two, characters that I base, that get based off of certain presidential candidates right now. I'll let the audience decide, in what context I'm talking about. But
and speaking of vague allusions to stuff, it's a great time to make sure our guests, do you have anything else to promote besides obviously Persona Non Grata, which they should and can buy at Amazon? Yes.
Yep. Yeah. It's on Amazon, on Kindle, paperback, and hardcover right now. The audiobook will be done sometime in the future. I'll make announcements about it, but that's still a ways off. Other than that, if they are looking for other things to read of mine, if they want that more Clancy thriller style stuff, that's the Modern Merc series. Starts with Deception, if they want to read that, or if they want to have that old school late 70s, early 80s sci-fi sort of slow burn, very much inspired by Alien, The Thing, Occupant, the first book in the Hostile Universe series.
Oh, you mean them? By them, you mean me? You just
yeah.
There you go. Look at that. It inadvertently wrote to my audience again.
Well, and also, haven't you written like an Aliens fan fiction or something?
That's true. Yeah. So I wrote a book that I wanted to try to get picked up as a lateral sequel to Alien Covenant. That is very much written as an homage to Aliens, where it follows a company of colonial Marines who get sent down to the planet from Covenant, and then things go off the rails. So I finished writing that, and I wrote that between February and May of 2022, and then I sent it off to Titan Publishing to try to get it picked up a bunch of times, and they never got back to me. And then Alien Romulus came out this year, which I loved Alien Romulus. And because there was popularity with it, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to release it as a fan fiction. I'm still going to put it out there anyway. And so every Friday, I release it in batches of 5 chapters.
I haven't seen. That's awesome.
I have a big question, Sam, for that, because my wife, I even got her attention for this. So she's like friends with so many people that do fan
My
fiction.
wife.
And I just wanted to ask, like, if you went from transitioning from fan fiction to like writing your own material, what's the best advice you could give to somebody for that?
That is a good question.
That is a really good question. It's funny because I almost did the opposite. I wrote all my original stuff first, and then I wrote this, trying to get it picked up to be part of the canon. I think writing fan fiction is a great way to practice, especially getting sort of your voice, your prose.
I would say
down
that these people actually, just to give a little context too, are popular with it. Like, a lot of people actually do read their fan fiction, as corny as it might seem to people.
Oh, well, I mean, that's great because they've already got a built-in reader base.
Yes.
So that way they can just promote that. The biggest thing is just making sure that if there is any, there needs to be clear delineation between what is your fan fiction IPs, and like if you are publishing something, making sure that it is your own individual. Now you can do references and homages for days. There's no legal basis of getting hit for that. But yeah, just making sure there's that delineation.
Yeah.
We have a couple like fan fiction people that I'd like to clip and send that to, actually, because it's a thing that they struggle with. I point out, like, it's better just inherently because it's your own creation and nobody else can control it and take it away from you, which is the worst when you create a fan project and then the company that owns it says, no, you can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would have loved to have just packaged it and like sold it on Amazon for like 99 cents as like an unofficial, unapproved alien story, but I didn't feel like dealing with the potential legal ramifications. So fanfiction.
Or you have to change so much to do it legally that it's not worth your time.
It's funny. It's funny you mention that because I actually I don't even like have it. I don't even think I have like the initial like Word document, but like I actually, because I'm a huge Blade Runner fan.
Nice.
And I actually before 2049 came out, like I actually wrote like kind of like a Blade Runner sequel that more or less, that like basically like completely is different from what like 2049 did. I don't. I'm actually super unpopular opinion. I don't hate 2049, but I don't think it's not like the amazing sequel that everyone says it is. And I don't even think Blade Runner needed a sequel. To be honest,
it absolutely
Rebel, get the pitchforks.
It absolutely did not need a sequel, but I really like 2049.
I am the rare guy that points out that I like the 90s adventure game, which is more of an expansion of the movie. They just remastered it on GOG.
Yep, I was about to say that.
So good, like for what you'd want as a fan of the original film. Obviously, it was made before the new one, so it's completely derivative of the film and not even the novel as much. But man, it hits all those right spots, especially the remaster with all the good audio. I used to have like a shitty audio card because I was a PC gamer back then. And the other thing I was gonna say on the topic of like the IP stuff, right, is as a producer, I started by using other people's material, like producing hip hop songs with other people's beats and making like clip compilations and stuff. So like everybody does that to some degree to learn in different trades, and there's nothing wrong with like starting with fanfic or something, but it's just you're playing such a dangerous game with one, you're so now attached to your world that you've built, which is separate from that IP but still part of it, and then two, some guy in a suit can just say no, now you owe us money, and it's like, and they're right, they're not wrong, you just kind of have to take that on the chin.
And that's why I decided just to throw it out there on fanfiction.net. Because it's sort of like, okay, if you're gonna go after me, you have to go after everyone else who's written on here before. So,
which and that stuff's cool, and that's I think where they have a lot of reader. I'm not really sure exactly where they go, but I've been saying like, we're surrounded by artists that are authors and promoting each other's work, so the perfect time. And they're like, well, but I write fanfic, you know what I mean? And that's what, and they're inspired to do it, which is cool, right?
I would challenge, and I think I know who this person you're referencing it is, Max. I would challenge that person to basically write basically take that same story, but like change the character, like basically
wouldn't be very hard considering the source material is like Stranger Things ish.
Yeah. Okay. So we're I know exactly who we're
Shut
talking
up,
about.
Sam. Yeah. Okay. It's Penn and Maxine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mean to say it.
Oh well, you said to say it. My wife is now gonna hit me. Go on.
Well, I mean, Penn and Maxine both like all you need to do is like basically create original characters and like basically input the script or input the story.
Well, here's an interesting wrinkle. What if it's naughty?
Oh my god.
Oh, I don't know. I don't write naughty stuff.
Yeah, me either. I'm not sure of that, but she said, "Oh my god," so maybe it is.
Even better. Just just don't base one of us.
I don't think it's her.
Oh God, no.
No.
Damn.
You
Now
know,
you're gonna get yourself in trouble. I'm getting off the hook.
Sam's
Good
naughty.
job, Sam. You keep it up.
yeah, no.
Why he makes the big bucks.
All I would say is just, you know, original characters for the win. To me it's funnier, and this is going back to Persona and Grata. To me one of the things that's fun about this is I'm such a nerd that I like to pick Easter eggs out of like, oh, this is an Easter egg for this and that and the other thing.
That's true. What's been your favorite Easter egg so far?
Well, I can't really say much without.
He's been talking about the Heat 2 reference for weeks. That's it.
Yeah.
He mentioned that a while ago. I remember specifically him saying, "Oh yeah, Heat 2," because he's always talking about, or the Heat 2. Yeah, that's when he started talking to me about Heat 2. Just he baits you. He loves to hear what people think about that. He's right though. It's an interesting. It tells you a lot about somebody, right? Because I do think that change in momentum is it. Some people seem to love it, right? But not me.
Well, and also like, as a writer, trying to see if like other people can pick Easter eggs out, like Max probably pointed out, you know, some of the 24 references I've made in my writing, and sadly there's a whole generation now that doesn't even know like what 24 is, or
that is not for modern audiences, Sam.
Even who Kiefer Sutherland. They know who they now know who Donald Sutherland is because he passed, but they don't know. They're like, oh, Kiefer did Lost Boys, and I'm like, yeah, and he's done other stuff too.
He was the voice of Venom Snake.
Yo, I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, probably my favorite, just because that's the closest we'll get to Jack Bauer in you know.
Haters gonna hate because David Hayter was the original Snake, right? But 5 was so fun to play.
Literally, the only downside about 5 is that the story wasn't finished.
Yeah. But I didn't care because I like went back and did all the hard modes and shit because it was just so smooth. Everything and just dropping shit on people's heads and just being silly in this big sandbox. Man, was that fun. More than any of those other games combined. And then people will hate because it's just don't have the original Snake voice, but I had a lot of fun with it.
But anyway, well, man, we should probably let you get out of here. Anything you want to promote? Where can
other than Persona and Grata, that's really it. And if anyone wants to chat with me, hit me up on. I'm on author Zach James on Twitter and Instagram. 90% of what I do is on Instagram, or shoot me an email, authorZachJames@gmail.com. If you want to talk books, any aspect of them, writing, promoting, even though I'm terrible at marketing, just because I don't have patience for it. That's where they can hit me up. And, I encourage people to buy Persona non Grata because it is a completely different animal from anything that I've written. I think it's a completely different animal from most fiction nowadays.
Yeah.
And that's where I'll leave it at that.
One thing I kind of want to promote on Zach's behalf, I'm not sure if it'll probably be out by the time people listen to this, if they're listening to this on archive, but I believe you'll be on Eric Bishop's podcast, A Tale of
that's right.
Scribes here soon. Love having him on.
Yeah, he's
a great dude.
Yeah. And in fact, I actually have Breach of Trust, his book, on my desk here as well. So it's his book was actually on top of Persona non Grata. So
if I may, Sam, real quick, Sandwich Makers this Saturday at the new time of 9 p.m. The Sandwich Makers broadcast featuring my wife Maxine the ever energetic Chibi, and the sassy, as always, Pen will not be there. I've just been informed, Sam. Breaking news. I was promoting something that's not. But Bits and Bones, Mort, are you still here?
Yep, Bits and Bones tomorrow night at 9 p.m. EST. I just found a interesting article involving Tencent and Epic Games, and there's a couple other earlier in the week articles that are pretty interesting to me.
Nice. And Grayson, and then for this show on Monday, since that's the pre-recorded show, Grayson Sullivan, who is a fan of Zach and my work both, he'll be coming on the podcast to discuss his Sword and Sorcery book, which honestly is like another pulp genre that doesn't get a lot of attention these days.
There's a little more up my alley, to be honest. Like, I love the pulp thriller stuff, Sam, but you know me. I like a good Conan. I like a good Warhammer fantasy. I like a good grimdark where the heroes fight and then they still lose, but you fight anyway because you're the fucking hero. Why can't you? Modern movies suck.
Because you're the fucking Sam. Hero and have a fucking set of morals to fight for. Damn it.
Speaking of heroes, one more thing, Sam. I had one more promo. Tales from Maxine's Mortuary, as you know, will be debuting on Halloween. That is a thing for all things spooky with my wife Maxine, and the first guest will be, of course, longtime co-host of this show, Apex Gamma. So stay tuned for that. And we're also going to play some of these scary games with the girls and the guys, because everybody liked when you guys played like Quiplash and stuff. And so I got scary games because my wife will scream, and I bet you the other girls will, at least one of them will scream, and Sam will probably scream. So
don't wear headphones that night, because I don't want to go
right on. Yeah.
And if you push more out of his wheelchair, I'll scream.
Mort just screams anyway half the time. You've been quiet tonight, brother.
Yeah.
Computer issues.
Well,
and there's a clip on the Sandwich Makers Twitter. What is it? At Sandwich Makers?
Yeah, just at Sandwich
Makers. SAMMIC, like Sandwich. They're the Sandwich Makers broadcast. I get the pun. No pun.
So, alrighty, folks. Well, thank you so much. I think that covers everything. Links are in the description on Rumble, and we will also link to Zach's author page on Spotify. So by the time people in podcast land hear this, hopefully you guys will be able to see Zach's page. Also, please, if you do buy Persona non Grata, or if you buy any of my books, please leave a review on Amazon. It really does help.
Big time.
Yeah.
Just like this. Like, comment, subscribe, and make an account on Rumble, please. You always forget that one, Sam.
So
that's like the big one here. Your book one is to leave a review. Here it's make an account, please.
Yeah. And so with all that in mind, good night. God bless. Gods of this great nation, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Whitfield Report.
The right to offend is not some pesky little part of freedom of speech that we have to put up with. It is the heart and soul and lungs of freedom of speech. It is the coursing lifeblood of human progress. It is the instigator of liberty and modernity and science and understanding. What a laughing stock today's student leaders are, that they can so casually dismiss the right to be offensive without realizing that their lovely, enlightened lives are the gift of individuals who gave offense. Offensiveness is not just something we have to begrudgingly accept. Offensiveness is the motor of human progress.
Thank you for watching the Whitfield Report live on the Right to Offend Media Network. make sure to check out Sam's books on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle. You can follow Sam on X at SamW_NGC and the Right to Offend Media Network at RTO Media. Like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. And until next time, God bless, God save this great nation. God, freedom, legacy, in that order.